Hey guys, hope you all are doing well. It is Friday, June 31st, 2022. I am Rodimus Prime. I'm recording this for you guys on Thursday, the 30th. And guess what? It's not the 31st of June. I'm just kidding. It's the 1st of July. See, that tells you how out of it I am today. I'm sorry about that. I'm doing this a day early because I will not be home tomorrow. So I figured I would give you guys some content, something good. And guess what? It's my favorite day of the week. It's prediction day. We are looking at today the first matchups of the Call of Duty League Major 4 Week 2 qualifiers. I'm excited to break down who I think is going to win, who I think is going to lose, and we'll go ahead and give you guys that. And as I said, thank you guys for stopping by, and let's get right into my predictions for the Call of Duty League Major 4 Week 2 qualifiers. As you can see here, these are the point standings. Some teams definitely need to win some to get good positions at the major. Some teams definitely need to win just a match in general. And let's go ahead and look at our first matchups of the weekend on Friday. The first one we have going, and this Friday, I'm telling you, is definitely one of the better we've had in a long time. These three matchups each stand to definitely be pretty dang good. And the first one we're going to look at is Atlanta FaZe, number 1 overall seed, versus Toronto Ultra, number 4 overall seed. Now, with that being said, these two teams have faced off for the last couple years and they have remained competitive with one another, almost kind of being a semi-rivalry between the two organizations. If Ultra keeps playing the way that they have been playing and is able to work together as a team, I can easily see them beating FaZe in a 3-1 fashion. And if FaZe decides to start out slow like they did against Thieves, there's a very good possibility that Ultra could capitalize on that and easily take this. There's too many factors that you could factor into this matchup in general. And with that being said, I think just my gut's telling me I think I'm going to take Ultra. And I think I am going to go with the 3-1. I think that they take a respawn. I think they take the S&D. I think FaZe comes back and takes the control. And then I think that Ultra finishes it out on that final respawn, which I think is another hard point. So I'll give it to Ultra winning this 3-1. Next up, we've got London Royal Ravens versus Minnesota ROKKR. The ROKKR looked very good against Optic. And then they looked so-so against Florida. That was also Major Maniac getting his revenge, so it's hard to say if that's how they're going to play the rest of this time. They were up to that point online, I want to say they were like 8-0 or 6-0 or 7-0. And London, with Zero putting up like a 1.5, looked very dominant. Now, I don't think Zero's going to do that again this week, and with that being said, it's up to either like Afro or Gizmo to step up. And I just don't know if that happens. So for me, I think ROKKR bounces back, but I think this is a close series. I'm going to take ROKKR winning this 3-2. What I think is going to end up happening is I think London's going to come out, take that first hard point. I think ROKKR is going to take the S&D. I think then they're going to take the control. I think London's going to take the second hard point. And then I think ROKKR is going to take the final S&D, and I think they're going to win it like 6-3. So I think ROKKR takes this 3-2 in a very close matchup. Next up, we've got Seattle Surge versus Boston Breach. And to me, Seattle Surge looks like the most dominant team in the game going forward right now. They just look to be playing well. Last week, you had 3 members of their team drop 1.2s or higher in terms of KD for their series. And Boston looks like a 50-50 team. You've got Methods playing bad, and he needs to be able to step up in his role. In the beginning of the season, he was very dominant, and Boston looked like a top 4 team. Now they kind of look in shambles. And Vivid does give them something different than Capsule did, but it doesn't matter whether it's Vivid or Capsule if the other 3 players aren't playing that well or together. So to me, I think this one's close, but not as close as the previous 2 series. I think Seattle beats Boston. I think they move forward, and I think that they win this probably 3-1 and close out our Friday, our first Friday of matches. Day 1 is in the books. We now have day 2, and our first matchup of the day. It's kind of an interesting one, but not really. It's interesting because officially we're supposed to be seeing the return of Illy for Optic, and if that actually happens, it's a good thing that they are playing Paris, a team that is at the bottom of the league, because it allows Illy and them to test certain things and see how he's doing and play to their strengths. Because Illy is still coming back, and this is an unsure thing, and if you saw Optic play last weekend, there was a lot of disarray. They were also sick. But I think Optic comes out. They struggle a little bit in the first match, but they win that match pretty easily. I'd say probably in the hard point 250 to 160. But then from that point forward, they just steamroll it, and I think they win this 3-0. But I think there's going to be a little bit of rust in the very beginning of the matchup, and I think people are going to be a little bit nervous. But at the same point in time, I think that as the match goes on, you're going to see that old Optic style. And Paris, I just want to see Paris win some matchups. And just get some more points. Like, get a good seed at Major 4. Like, get like a winner's bracket spot, please. That's what I want to watch. I want to see Donnie Temp and his crew do so well. So bad. The dude deserves it. He's been busting his butt, putting out content. Like, he completely deserves to be able to play in a winner's bracket spot in that major. And they need to win this. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Optic's going to take it 3-0. But dang, I want to see them win. Next up, second matchup of the day. Seattle Surge once again plays New York Subliners. This is a rematch of the Major 3 first matchup of... the first matchup of Major 3. This is a rematch of the first matchup of Major 3. And with that being said, that match finished in a round 11 S&D one-on-one. And Seattle ended up clutching that out. And if you watch that S&D back, it was one of the most chaotic S&Ds I've seen in a while. And I think if it was a little bit more methodical between the teams, I don't know if Seattle wins that. I think there's a part of Seattle that the reason that they do so well is there's a little bit of chaoticness to their nature. I think that they, because they are young and brash, I think they do some ego pushes and do some things that a lot more methodical players wouldn't do. And I think because New York has played them before and New York needs these points, I guarantee you they're watching vids, they're doing practice runs, and I think that they're getting prepared. I think that this is going to be a close matchup. And I think this is going to go to another, fifth match. But I'm going to give this one to New York this time. I think they take the round 11 S&D in a 3-2 win against Surge. And I think this kind of lets Surge know, hey, you're still beatable. And is kind of that turning point where they get to that next level and they look like a championship team. They've looked like it this entire time. And I could be wrong. Surge could come out and win this 3-1, 3-2, 3-0 and, remain dominant. But I think New York, it gives Surge problems. I think they really give Surge problems. And I think that because of that, I think New York takes this 3-2 in a very competitive matchup. Next up, we've got Atlanta FaZe in the final matchup of Saturday playing the Los Angeles Guerrillas. Guerrillas is one of those teams that when looking at the standings here, they have lost the first 2 of their qualifier matches. So this is a win that they actually absolutely 100% need. Unfortunately, they're playing the number 1 team in the game currently, and that is FaZe. I think FaZe hits the 300 point mark before they get to the major, if not the 290 point mark. And unfortunately, I think LAG is going to be one of those casualties. LAG has not seemed like the same team since Major 2, and they looked more of the same as we went into the last two matches they had in qualifiers. I don't know what they need to do, but they're probably going to lose this one 3-1. I think they need to bring back Asim. I think he needs to be back on that lineup. I think he deserves to be back on that lineup. And hopefully he's been practicing and he's ready in case he's called back. But that being said, I think FaZe wins this. I think they win this 3-0, 3-1. and it's not going to be close. If LAG even takes a map off them, I'll be surprised. Actually, let me just be honest. I think FaZe takes this 3-0. I don't think LAG takes a single map. And yeah. All right. And the final day of matchups for the week 2 qualifiers. We have 3 matchups. The first one is Boston Breach versus LAG. In this is kind of a little bit of a semi-rivalry, I think. I think Boston Breach and LAG are more of a rivalry than is actually talked about. I think they both need this win. And this one's kind of a toss-up. I think LAG, because I think they have a better head-to-head than Boston. Check that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they do. I think they take this. And I actually think they take this 3-2. I think that they get their first win in qualifiers, and I think that it feels good, but I think that they need to not rest on this win and move forward. And Breach, man, I don't know what y'all need to do, but there needs to be some things figured out, because I think you guys are in shambles right now. But that's, like I said, that's my prediction on that. I think LAG probably wins this 3-1, 3-2. This one's going to be really quick, pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Thieves is going to win this one 3-1, 3-0. Paris is going to take another L, and that's just that simple. I feel for Paris, but they were talking about upsetting some people. I don't think it's happening. So LA Thieves wins this 3-1, 3-0. And next up, we got Optic Texas versus New York Subliners. Marquee matchup, final matchup of Sunday. The one that everybody probably will talk about going into Sunday will be this matchup. It's a rivalry matchup. It is. I've been talking about rivalry matchups this entire video, and this is definitely one of those. Crim6 always wants to beat his former team, wants to beat Optic, wants to beat Scump, wants to beat Shotzzy, wants to beat Illy, wants to beat the people he played with, and, it gives him bragging rights, and he gets to talk his crap. And Optic, I think they need this win. I think this is a confidence boost, because right now, New York is playing like a top 6 team. And I think both teams need this. And I think this is going to be good. I think you take out the control and you put in the other 4 matchups. I think it's going to be solid. I think Optic takes the first hard point. I think New York takes the S&D. I think Optic takes the control. I think New York takes the hard point. And then I think in the S&D, because Optic has not been playing with their full roster again at full health for months now, I'm going to take New York to win it 6-4. And New York wins the series 3-2. And gets another set of 10 points. And after this weekend, if I'm correct, that would put New York at 4-0 and the overall #1 seed for qualifiers, which they need to have happen, because they are down here at 90 points right now. And they need that, because that put them at 110, and they are still behind Mutineers and Rocker. So it's going to be another good week of qualifier matchups. These are going to be good back and forth series, and I'm excited to see how they play out. Now, this was unexpected, but accidentally, while recording this and after I'd finished editing, I noticed that I had forgotten one of the matchups listed on this weekend. And that was the Florida Mutineers versus the London Royal Ravens. As with every prediction, I'm going to make sure to give every prediction. And with this one, London looks like a better team right now. They look just more cohesive. They look like they're back to their top 3 form. And Florida looked good against Minnesota, but I don't think they're going to beat London. I think London takes this probably 3-1. I think that they take the first hard point. I think Florida takes the S&D. I think London takes the control, and then I think London takes the final hard point to win this 3-1. So my prediction is London 3-1. My bad, guys. But alright, that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, the opinions and predictions stated in this video are my own, so you don't got to agree with them. But I appreciate you sitting through the entirety of the video. If you could do me just one more small favor before you go, if you could please like the video and subscribe, I would really, really appreciate that. And as always, I will see you all on Monday.